Hello everyone, today in this video we will be continuing with what we had started in the first video, where we had discussed the module 1 important questions and their solutions. Okay, so to give you a brief overview of module 2, it consists of two chapters. The first one is the tables and forms and second is the advanced CSS. Okay, and along with that there are some super important programs which have been asked in the previous papers. So the programs I will be discussing in a separate video, all the programs which have been asked in the previous papers and which are the important lab programs you have to study. All those things will be discussed in a separate video. So in this video I'll be just discussing the solutions for the given questions here. So let's get started, and make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, because your support helps me make more videos like this. Okay, so let's get started. The first question is, discuss the table element along with the spanning rows and columns. A very important question. So it's present in page number 1 itself. So what is a table? A table, all we know, it's consists of rows and columns, so that is known as a table. And how do you initialize table? That code you need to write. Firstly you need to write the theory regarding what is a table. It consists of rows and columns, and the table is defined using the table tag, and it has the tr, the table row, and the table heading is defined by th, and the table data is defined by td. So these three things you have to write. For example, if I write like this, tr and then th apple, th orange, and th screwdriver, so what will happen is a table will be created with the heading as th, and actually that just a row will be created. Okay, in the first row there will be apple, first apple will be written here, and then orange will be written, and then screwdriver will be written. Okay, so this is just one row, and this row is covered by another tag called as table and slash table. Okay, so this will be under a table. Like that, in the table we will be keep on inserting the rows. That's what I have to explain the theory and the syntax as well. So here are many examples, you can go through it. And the row span and the column span attribute. Let me show you what is row span and what is column span. So column span means sometimes we want to display it like this, right? See, what you can observe here is diet to be followed, and here is another row which has breakfast, lunch, dinner, apple, rice, cucumber, watermelon, rice and papaya, right? So here it has not divisions, right? Here it's just a simple means single row, but this is known as a column. This is known as a row and this is known as a column. The column is divided into three parts here, right? The row is not divided into three parts, the column is getting divided into three parts. So if I write for the first, like col span is equal to 3, like when I define a row, tr col span is equal to 3 for the first heading. Okay, in the row, the first element, col span is equal to 3. If I write, it will span 3 columns. It will span what? It will span 3 columns. The first column, second column, and the third column it will span, and the content which is to be written, that will be written like that to be followed, means that I have specified here. So you can use col span after writing th, okay, or you can even write after using td, but since it's a heading, we have written it as th and col span 3 direct to be followed. Usually we'll write in th itself. Okay, that's how col span is used. If you want to use the row span, in row span what you will do is, see, for example, this is supposed to be one row, this is supposed to be second row, third row, fourth row, and fifth row, but what you can see is two rows are combined here. Two rows are what? Combined here. So when we define the first row here as th at the means in the t row, the first element th, there I will write row span is equal to 2. So what it will do, it will span 2 rows. That's what I have done here. In the notes it's written like this is the first row. In the first row, what is getting included is th, two headers are getting included, two what are getting included, headers are getting included. Th row span is equal to 2, th col span is equal to 3, fruit juice drinks. Okay, so what's happening is th row span is equal to 2. The first header has row span as 2, the second header has col span as 3. So first header and second header in the this first row. Okay, actually this is the first row. It looks like this because row span is equal to 2 and then the column span becomes 3. So this is the first row tr. In that the first element th, row span is equal to 2 and nothing was defined there, so it is empty, but it has spanned 2 rows. And the second element, which is th, that has spanned 3 columns. Just one row is there, but it has spanned 3 columns, right? This is the first column, and this is the second, and this is the third column. So one row is there but 3 columns, and here there is 1 column but 2 rows. Okay, that's how you use row span and column span. Just write it once or twice, then you will get to know the syntax as well. Make sure you know the syntax very well, because even if you see from above like this, it will look like it's very easy, but when you start to write, then you will actually know how much easy it is. Okay, so that's what about the table rows, table data, table head, row span and col span. Okay, let's move on. And one more thing what I want to tell you is that how much ever content you can gain. Okay, means how much ever you can read and get it in your mind whatever you can, okay, because at the exam you need to write a lot of content, okay. So that's why don't miss anything. How much you can gain, okay, whether it's important or not, forget it, just gain, okay. Then we have the next question, how the forms work with a neat diagram, and discuss about query strings and micro formats. So it's in page number 6. Let's move to the page number 6. So these are forms, okay. So either learn full about tables or learn full about forms, okay. So if we see about forms, there are a few things which you need to keep in mind. So what is a form? Form provides a user with alternative way to interact with the web browser, another by using hyperlinks, okay. Another way is using hyperlinks. So it's just a form, like what is a form? There will be questions and there will be answers, options and all, right. That's only a form, okay. There will be something you'll display, and you'll give the user the options to select what the user wants to select, okay. So how the forms works, whatever option you select, for example, what is your name, and 3 names will be given, okay. So whatever is your name, select that name, and what will happen, that name will be selected and that name will be passed to the query string. That name will be passed to the query string. Whatever choice you select, that will be passed to query string, and that query string will be passed to, like, communication, means it will go to the server and it will go to some other place, right. So that's what happening. Whatever option select, that will be passed to query string. That's another important concept you need to keep in mind. First you will define what is a form, then you will explain how forms work as well, okay. Even if they have not asked in the paper, means the question explicitly, this is a part of the answer. You have to explain what is the query string and how the forms works, okay. So here's an example which you can include. Here's an input type text, okay. What is the input type? Text is the input type and the name is given as title, okay. So title and the input type is text here, and whatever you enter here, that will be taken. And here's another thing, like select name where, and here some options are defined, okay. The whole code is not there, but the options are defined here. So 2 things are there. This is the input type text and this is the select where, okay, select option. Now whatever you select here and whatever you write here, those 2 content will be taken. Where it will be taken, as title is equal to central plus park. So if you write central and space then park, it will be written as central plus park, and the second argument is where, and it is defined as United States, means what you have selected, that content will be taken here. So where this content will go, this content will go to the query string, okay. So this content will go to the query string. Is actually yeah, here's how it will go. So process.php question mark, after that whatever you had selected and defined, that will be taken here, okay. That's how the query string works, and that's how the form works, and inside that the query string sub option, because in the question they have asked the query strings, right. And micro format is another very small concept, so it's found in the later pages, so I'll come to that later, but usually those 2 questions don't get asked together. If you are studying about the form element, you need to study how forms work and what is the query string and what is the form element, how is the form defined. In the form you will define 2 things, action and method. You will define 2 things, action and what, method, okay. So what is action, what is method? Method means get or post, okay. Get means it will just have a single line, post means it will have additional information. Get will have single line of code and post will have additional information. Action is what, process.php, means when you click submit, where it should go. When you click submit, where it should go, process.php. That is what action and method difference is. I hope you got the difference. And this is the format for get and post. So you'll write here get, and after that forward slash process.php, which web page you want to go after you have clicked the submit button, and question mark, what is the name and the value pair, name and the value pair for what all you have selected in the form, and http/1.1. Here also the same thing, just the difference is post, then process php http1, and the other things like the date, Sunday, May 20 May 2012, and the time is also given and the format is also given. Host, user agent, content length, all these things will be defined, and this is known as http header. All these things will be defined in what, post, and the query string will just have one thing, means in the get you will just have one line, which is the query string, and this whole thing is known as query string. This is known as http header, okay. And query string is just this, which is marked in blue here and here as well, okay. If you want more information, you can read this one. Here's some more information regarding the differences between get and post method. Then I guess there is a separate question regarding the form elements. Yeah, there is a third question, the last question from the first chapter of module 2. Here we have the different form elements along with the various form control elements. So how many types of control elements are there? Text input control, choice control, radio button, button control, date and time control. text input control, choice control, radio button, and date and time. So let's cover each concept one by one. What are form control elements? Form control elements means customizing the form choice. Okay, like when you are a child, you want ice cream, right? So there will be a shop and there will be options like the vanilla ice cream, chocolate ice cream, or orange ice cream. Like that choices will be there. But if you go to some other malls, it will be like a drop down menu will be there. You can click the screen and select. It will be showing like this different types of ice creams, or you can just type the ice cream name starting, it will show you the suggestions. So there are different types of selections. This is known as radio button, this is known as checkbox, and this is known as display, something called as display. Okay, so I will come to that later, but that's how the different form elements is. If you want to customize the form elements, you will be using form control elements. Now there are some form control elements given here. You can go through it, like the button, I forgot, yeah, data list. Okay, that what I was talking about is data list, and button is also there. Like different buttons will be there. Inside the button only it will be written which flavor of ice cream you want, that you will be clicking, and that ice cream will be coming from the machine, right? And you can have input, like you will be typing there which one you want, and you will be submitting, so the person will see which flavor you want. Or you will have the options and the option group, select and text area. So all these things we'll be discussing in detail. What are the key points you need to keep in mind, that we'll be discussing now. So the first one is text input control. Okay, text input control is used to get information from the user. Text input means you are getting the text from the user in the form of input, right? Text information from the user in the form of input. And there are few elements like these things. And if you want to remember the syntax is very important. Just remember this much. I'll tell you, most of the not only most, all the codes except one or two will have this format: input, type. If you memorize this one, it will save you a lot of time, because most of the codes are this much only. Input type is equal to, and whatever the type is, that you have to fill here. Okay, input type is equal to whatever the type is, you have to fill here. The exception is just in text area. Here you will have the code as text area, rows and columns how much, rows and columns how much, text area that much only. Rest all you take text. Input type is equal to text, password input type password, email input type email, tel input type tel, and URL input type URL, and so on. And whatever comes after that also, that's also the same thing only. Input type is equal to something will be there. Okay, so make sure you go through each of these. It's very important ones. Text input controls, you have the text here. So if you want to display a text where you can enter some information, they will be using text. If you want to means make this box bigger size, specify the size here and write text area, don't write input there. And input is a self closing tag. Input is a what? Self closing tag. What does self closing tag means? It will have a starting, it will have an ending. It will not have a separate ending like slash input. Okay, it will have the ending within the same thing. Open the input, write type is equal to whatever the type is. If you want to name it something, you can name it and close it there itself. Okay, so that's what about the text. And the text area, you will have the text area, and same thing, password, email, telephone if you want to define a telephone number, and URL if you want to define a URL. Okay, that was about the text input controls. Okay, so at least mention 5 of them if they ask an exam. Then we have the choice controls. In choice controls, the first one is the select list. So in select list, how you will be starting? By using the keyword select, the tag select. So if you write select, and you can define some name here. So if you write select, what will happen? Like this menu will be coming. Okay, when you write select, like this menu will be coming. And what you want inside the menu, like if you click here, something should be visible, right? Whatever the options are there, that should be visible. So for writing this option, you'll be using option, and whatever you want inside that, you will write that option. Whatever you want inside that, you will write that. And here you can see it's written as selected. Selected means the second option will be selected, means by default that will be selected option. Okay, means it will be blue, and that second option name will be written here. If you don't write selected, nothing will be written here. When you click on something, that will get selected, and that will be written, and that will be in blue in color. Okay, so select will what it will do, it will create a box like this. It will have a triangle here, and when you click this triangle, some things will be displayed. What are those things? That those things are nothing but options, and inside the options you will write the option name. That's how the select is used. And here some more information is given regarding that. Like if you want option group, okay, like for example in which city you are, like first the country will be displayed, or the continent will be displayed. Inside that country names will be displayed. If you want a format like this, like by means this one continent, what are the countries present, another continent, what are the countries present, this is what, this is a group, right? As you can see, this is a small group, this is also a small group. So how you can make groups in the select command? So first you will be writing select. After that you will be writing opt group. Opt group, what it will do, it will have a opening tag and a separate closing tag. Okay, so select will also have a opening tag and a separate closing tag. Inside this, what you will include is the options. Whatever the options you want to include, that you will include here. And label will be nothing but what you want to display the op group name as. Op group name is given by label. Inside that, what you will write option and the name and the closing option tag. Okay, same as options what you have defined up there, that same thing will be writing here as well. And along with that, you will be having the different op groups, and that is how the like this input comes. Okay, and okay, values are also given, so you can use that as well. Either you can use by the value number, or you can use by the name itself. Okay, and the second option of the choice control is after the select, the second one is the radio buttons, a very important concept. So in radio button, what we have is the input type radio, just as how we had in the previous one. Just we had select and the option, but here we have the input type is equal to radio. Okay, select and text area just has select, means the direct name, select and text area, like that it will be the direct name. The rest all will be the radio, means the input type. Input type is equal to radio. Whatever you want to name it, and keep the value like the unique values, and the name here like North America. Okay, so wherever you have to write as selected one, by default write it as checked. Okay, before closing the radio means before closing the input tag, write checked. Okay, so input type radio, and name is equal to where, value is equal to 2, and the name should be same here. Why the name should be same? Because it's one choice form, right? One choice form. If you have separate names, what will happen is this one can also be selected, this can also be selected, this can also be selected, but we want to select only one of them. So at that case, what we will do, we will write the name as same. All the names will be written same, and then we'll be when we select, either one of them will be selected. If we select North America, that will be selected, and South America will be deselected. And the third one is the check boxes. Check boxes means you can select multiple items. Here you will have a box, you can check box it. Okay, so how is the syntax is, here also will have the input type. Input type is equal to checkbox, and the name will be given, and the name also should be same. Make sure the name is same. Value can be different, and whatever you want to display above it, that you can take here. Okay, so input type is equal to checkbox, name is equal to visit, name should be same, value is what is the value of it, and then we have the last one, which is the name. Okay, so it will be looking as like this, and the first line which you can see here, where would you like to visit, that is given by label. Where would you like to visit, and that is given by the label. The fourth one is the sorry, not the fourth one, in the choice control we had three things: the select, the what is the second one, radio button, and third is the check boxes. Okay, that was from the second one, which is choice control. The first one was text input control. Coming to the third one, which is button control. In button control, you can have different types of button, like button input type is equal to submit. See here also it is input type. Okay, input type is equal to submit, input type is equal to reset, input type is equal to button, input type is equal to image, and just button. Okay, so it will display different types of images. For example, if you want to you want to design a web page where you will be writing you want something to be displayed like F. Okay, there if you click, it will take you to Facebook. This is the image of Facebook, logo of Facebook. By clicking on the logo, you want to go to the website. At that time, what you will do, input type is equal to image. Input type is equal to image when you do, and that image is defined here. After that, you will have a href as well. Okay, so inside the button, what you will do, you will be first writing href, where you have to go. Inside that, the image you will write like the Facebook image. So when you click on that image, what will happen, it will take you to the href website. Okay, and that is defined outerward by the button. So it will look like a button, and there you will have an image, and when you click that image, it's inside the a tag, so it will take you to some website, and that is in the form of a button. Okay, so many of the variations are present here, you can go through it, but this is the main content. At least one thing you have to write in the exam. Okay, if they ask about the button controls. Coming to date and time control, if you want the person to just enter the date, you can write this one, or just the time, date time local, month and week. Okay, that's how the date and time control works. When you write date, input type is equal to date, something like this will be displayed. If you write input time is equal to time, like this it will be displayed. Date time will display both the date and the time. Date time local will display the local date time, and month will display just the month, and the week will display just the week. Okay, and the user can select any of these. Okay, if you select this one, it will not be able to click that. Just the clicking one is which is highlighted in gray color. Okay, That's how the date and time controls are. And that's what about the third question, which is different type of form elements with the different control elements. Okay, so any of this they can ask. Make sure you're thorough with all of these. Okay, that was about the second means the first chapter, tables and forms. Just these three things are important. Make sure you're thorough with table, spanning and rows, how forms work, and what is the structure of the form, what is query strings. And micro format is nothing but it will just collect the information from different parts of the web page and it will store in a single button type. Okay, that's all what is micro format. And the third one is the different forms of control elements. If you study the different forms of control element, easily you can answer the output type questions also. See, to in the module 2 what you need to know for designing means they could give the output, you have to add the code is first learn the table rows and table spanning, column span, row span. After that you have to learn the different types of input elements. Okay, basically they'll ask in between these two only. Okay, so if you study both of these, it will be easy to answer these type of questions. Okay, so these type of question how to answer in depth I will be discussing in some other video. So for now let's move to the next chapter, which is advanced CSS. And here's the first question is explain the different ways of positioning elements in CSS layout technique. Different ways of positioning elements. So let's first have a brief overview of what is the elements present. So in CSS, what are the elements present? So elements that can be present are a paragraph tag or the image tag or the a tag or h1 tag, a heading or a division tag or an article. So these are different elements present. How to position those elements? What do you understand by the term position? Where you have to keep this one, where you have to keep this one. So for example, if I have bought my new iPad and it is this much size, okay, so if I just zoom it out like this, at that time what should happen? All these should be repositioned. Like if I zoom out, it will be more space here. These two things should be going in the upper row, these two things should be going in the upper row. Like that it is positioning. But sometimes what will happen, it will stay the same and the size will decrease, the whole things will become small, like that also can happen. So these are the different types of things that can happen. So you need to know very well about what are the different things, and means for each of the different happenings you need to know what is its name. Okay, means if it is getting smaller, what is it called, which type of layout it is. If it is means adjusting within the size and the percentages value and it is becoming small or big, or where space is there, it is filling that space or not filling that space, what it is called, that you need to know very well, so that when they ask you that particular specific question in exam, you can be easily able to answer what it is, what it actually is after writing the theory, and you can easily give the example as well. So let's go in depth about each of these because it's a very important question. Okay, so let's go to the positioning elements. It's found in page number 19. So moving on to page number 19, what we have is the positioning of elements. So it is possible to move an item from its regular position in the normal flow. What is a normal flow? Just in the normal flow, what will happen, whatever the elements are defined, if I zoom out this, what will happen, the previous elements will be going in the same row. So if I zoom out to the max level, what will happen, all the elements of the website will be in a single line, okay, like in the horizontal row. If I zoom in, what will happen, only one element will be there in one row, second element, third element, fourth element in a very big means size. So that's what the normal flow is. And how to move an item from its regular position, where it's actually defined in the regular flow, how to move it to a different place in the regular flow. So that's what we'll be seeing in the first question. Means that's the first key point. Move an item outside of the browser viewport so that it is not visible. So if you want to delete an item, how can we make this item stay here? Okay, that's how the second thing is. And the third thing is move to the position so that it will always be visible in the fixed position while the rest of the content scrolls. Okay, for example, you can see the websites, right? In some website there will be many ads, so some ad will be here itself. It doesn't matter whether you scroll up or scroll down, it will stay here itself. How is that possible? Okay, so those three things are the things which we will be considering for the position property. Okay, so those three things are nothing but absolute, fixed and relative. Absolute, fixed and relative. Static is also there, but it's not that important because it's not yet explained here in as a separate topic. Just it's given that the element is positioned according to the normal flow. This is default. Like default, it will be static itself. Okay, whatever it told, like zooming out, it will come in the same line. That is what static. Okay, now we have absolute, fixed and relative. Fixed is that advertisement thing, like it will be fixed in the same place. Absolute and the relative, I'll show you a image. By using the image, then we'll go to the theory, because by seeing the image you can easily get to know the difference. See, here's one thing. like this line is written here, okay, in the code this line is written. After that there is a image defined here, okay, and after the image there is another code written here, another line of information written here. So information, image, information. But then what I did is, in the styling of this image, what I did, I set some top width and the left width, top height and the left width I set for the image. So what happened, the image was supposed to be starting from here, right? So it took this much width and means it took this much height from the top and this much width from the left, and it's visible here. So like that it happened, it overlapped the other content. So this is what the relative is, okay. So the relative is this one, and see what I am trying to say is style, okay. In style what I did, figure, top 150px, left 200px, like this I defined, and the position I defined as relative. And where I have defined figure, there is a p tag inside the body, and after that there is a figure, after that another p tag. So after the p tag there was supposed to be a figure, but that figure I have defined relative 150px, 200px. So what will happen, relative to this line it will go down 150px and go left 200px. So that's what happened. It was supposed to be here, but below this line it went 150px, and left it went 200px. That is what the relative is. Coming to absolute, in absolute what happens is, it will not have this space, that's all. The only difference is it will not have this space. If it is moving like it's an aggressive one, okay, there is no mercy, okay. So relative is merciful HTML, okay. Relative is merciful, okay. Relative is what, merciful, and absolute is aggressive, okay. Merciful means what, it has left this place and gone somewhere else, but it's still waiting for it to come back, right? It has still left its space, it has not given this space to anyone else. But absolute position is very aggressive. It acts like this, like if you go from this space, I'll give this space to the next person, okay, like very rude person, okay. So see here, as soon as the image left its place, it was given to somebody else, right? As soon as it left its space, it was given to somebody else. So this is what the absolute is. It will not preserve the space which is present here, it will give to someone else, okay. Someone else means the next element which is to be displayed, okay. So that's what the difference between relative and absolute is, and it's your task now to explain this in your own words, okay. So moving on, we have the another important concept, which is Z index. So by one image only you can understand what is Z index. See here, the image Z index value is -1, and content, what content www, you can see that Z value is 1. So whichever has bigger Z value, that will be displayed on top, that's all. See here, figures Z index is defined as -1, bodies Z index is defined as 1. What if I did as +1 here and -1 here? The image will come on top, that's all, okay. That is what Z index is. And the third one is fixed position. In fixed position, what it will have, whether you scroll or not, as you can see, just position fixed. That's what I've written in the style of what, figure. So what I'm trying to say is, figure, inside that style I wrote position fixed, okay. See here, where is the scroll? It is here. Image is also here. I scrolled it down. Now the scroll is here, but still the image is here itself, right? So that's what the fixed position is. The image will be fixed at the top while the web page scrolls, okay. Then we have floating elements. In floating elements, what happens is, if I give you a brief information, what is floating elements. If you have an element here, okay, and this is the whole web page, and if you float it to the right, it will come here, and this image is not present anymore here, okay. And whatever the content is there, it will be written like this. This content is written and it will be written like this, okay. As you can observe, it's just getting written till here, then from the next line it is starting. Like this element is floating in between the elements, and the rest of the content will be written on the around of it, okay. That's what the floating element is. And how can you float the element? By using so the code is not given here, the code is given here, float left. So when you do float left, the float will be, means the image will be floated to the left, okay. And if you again write float left, it will move till here, then again left, it will move till here, like that, okay. So in the based on the previous image position, it will move to the left till that position. Okay, that's how floating element works, and that's what the floating element is. And you can have the float left, float right, float both, float none. And moving on, we have the next topic, which is the overlaying and hiding element. So this topic is not super important topic, but it has been asked. Okay, so if you want, you can listen, or else you can move to the next question. So what is overlaying and what is hiding? Hiding, there are two things. The display property takes an element out of the flow. Display means if you take as display as none, it will take the image, it will delete the image itself. But you just make it visibility as hide, it will just hide, it will stay there itself, but it will not be visible. That's all. Okay, like overlaying means what? You will use two images on top of each other. For example, when you have to display it like this. Okay, so see, it is written British Museum, and this is image here. So British Museum is another image, and this is another image. So these both are overlaid on each other. Okay, and the visibility display is set as auto, means both will be displayed. If you make the display as none, the British Museum's figure will be vanished away. Okay, if you write it as visibility hidden, it will not be visible, but the space will be preserved, because it is there but it's not visible, like that it will be. Okay, so that's what the different important concepts which are there in the CSS. So I answered the second question as well. So what is the floating element do in C++? How do you float an element? So yeah, overlaying and hiding element just now discussed. Coming to the third question, which is what are the different approaches to CSS layout, fixed and liquid? What is the main difference between fixed and liquid, and what is responsive design? A very important question. Okay, so let's discuss what is fixed and liquid layout. See, even if you listen the whole video, but still you have to go to the content and practice by yourself. Okay, don't depend on the video itself, because unless you practice and write the tags by yourself and try writing the code and the content by yourself, it will be very hard for you. Okay, so make sure after watching the video you practice by your own, go through the notes very thoroughly. Okay, so basically we have two types of layouts, which is fixed layout and liquid layout. So why do we need different types of layouts? So see, some will be having one iPhone, some will be having iPad, some will be having a big TV, some will be having MacBook, like that. Different devices will be there. Different devices will have different sizes. So what content is to be displayed here? If that same content, same size, it is displayed here, it will look very weird. If this is also displayed in TV this much small, it will look like a very bad one, right? So we have to change the size of the images based on the device size. So that's what two approaches we use, which is the fixed layout approach and liquid layout approach. Fixed layout approach, what it will do is, it will display it like this only, like however it is, it will display like this, and the extra space there, it will remain empty. Okay, that is a fixed layout. All will be defined as fixed, and either you can make it to the right, so equal space will be there in left and right, but space will be there. Okay, it will not adjust accordingly. Okay, so that is what the fixed layout is. And moving on, we have the liquid layout. So the advantage and disadvantage is also given, you can go through it. Whatever the liquid advantage is, that it adjusts to the size. For example, if this is the content, if I expand it or I open this in a different device, what it will happen, it will adjust accordingly. It will not leave white space, but it will adjust the content. Like if it was 5 lines, it will become in 3 lines, and this it will increase in size, like that it will happen. Okay, that is what the liquid layout is. So here also there is advantage as well as disadvantage. Okay, so the most awesome design approach is the responsive design. In responsive design, what will happen, if you can see from this figure, you can easily explain in your own words. See this figure, I am trying to reduce its size. Okay, means I am minimizing it, means I am making this window size as small. Okay, so what will happen, this was bigger image, it became smaller image. If I again reduce it, what will happen, this image will go down of this one. Okay, it will go down of this one, and you can see here some options were available. These options, what it became like a drop down menu here. So it became a drop down menu. See here's the same thing what is written, the UL list of hyperlinks changed to a select, and the 2 column design changes to 1 column. So there were 2 columns initially. Which were those 2 columns? The 2 columns were this one, column 1, column 2. It changed into just 1 column, and this came in down of it, and this one became as UL. It's very awesome, but it is actually very complicated and hard to design. Okay, that's the disadvantage, but it's very easy and user friendly. That's the advantage. Okay, so I hope so you got the answer to the fourth question as well. Here's some more information given how you can implement it. Make sure you use the meta tag. It's compulsory, like you have to write this in the answer script as well, like the meta tag. Okay, for this the marks is there. HTML head, meta name, viewport, content width, device width. So unless you use this one, that will not work. Responsive design is a waste. If you don't write this one and write everything else, okay, it will not work. You have to write this one. So that's all what is there in the responsive design. There are 4 key components: liquid layout, scaling image to viewport, setting the viewport, and customizing CSS for different viewport media queries. Rest is just the further information. If you want, you can go through it. You'll get more information to write. So that's upon you. But basically that's all is there in the module 2 of HTML. And make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. If you have any doubt, ping me in Instagram. My ID is in the description box. And hit the like button, subscribe, because your support helps me make more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.